We're at the Ofel, okay, which is at the southern wall of Har HaBayit. So this project is a project that I've been involved with for the last 8 years. And when I first came to this project, I saw that it was mostly abandoned mikvaot, okay. And so mikvaot is the origin of our Jewish halacha. And I started to understand and learn a little bit more about why we build a mikveh before we build a Beit Knesset, why we build a mikveh before we build a school. This is the basis of purity in the Jewish religion. And so many thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, millions of people came through year after year after year to this site over here, the Ofel, and they purified themselves here before they went up to make Aliyah Haragel to the Har HaBayit, to the Beit HaMikdash on Har HaBayit. And so I wanted to restore this site to bring back the history and of how the connection is made from Ir David below us here to the south, from the original city of Jerusalem south of us, through the Ofel, where people would purify themselves, pick up their korban, and ultimately make their destination the Beit HaMikdash.
Okay, let's do a quick tour inside.
Sure. Here we're walking through the ancient mikvaot of Jerusalem. Up ahead of us is the southern wall of the Temple Mount, the gates of Huldah, the 3 gates of Huldah, where people would make Aliyah Regel. They'd ascend to the Holy Temple to make their sacrifices, but before they did that, they would come here into the pools that were once here. Thousands of people to purify themselves in order to be permitted to go up with their sacrifice to the Holy Temple. So we continue to walk through these ancient pools. You can see the plaster on the wall. This is the ancient plaster that once covered the entire walls and stopped the water from leaking out of the cisterns. This is a plaster that's provided of the Second Temple period, so 2,000 years ago or thereabouts, and that continues to exist in all of these pools. And the mikvaot required natural spring water to come into the mikveh and or rainwater from the Geshem, the rain above. Now, what's interesting about the various water sources is that they come from these different directions and they flow underground in the aquifers, which are very big rivers around Jerusalem. And these aquifers provided water to this area of all the mikvaot. And eventually, all the water flows out to the Dead Sea, which is to our left, east, which is the lowest point on earth. Okay, so here you can sort of get a sense of the mikvaot. Okay, the steps, number 7 stairs that it takes to walk down each step into the mikvaot and to immerse yourself in this water. In this area, there are around 40 mikvaot. There are approximately 60 or 70 in the entire space of this area and a little bit further to the west. But you can imagine that 50 or 60 mikvaot processed a lot of people every day. Thousands of people at the Chagim, Sukkot or Pesach. This was a very, very busy area. And people would purify themselves here, and they'd actually move to the ramp on the eastern wall to pick up their korban that they had purchased from the city, basically. So there was a tax on the purchase of a korban, and the tax was paid to the city, and you took a stamp and you picked up your korban with like a ticket exchange to get your korban to go into the city with your korban. And this tax is really part of the economics, the economy of the temple, which really drove the politics of this region. One other area, if you want to come up to the top, it'll just be 2 seconds, and then you can see a very beautiful view from there. Okay, just watch your head when you come through here. Here you get a sense of a small mikveh with the steps down into the mikveh area and the pool clustered one next to each other. Sometimes a pool like this over here, or these two pools here. These were used as tuval to insert jars and jugs and kitchenware and other items that would require purification. Okay. Here's a picture of some of the household vessels that would be purified along with. It's very unique to Judaism, mikveh. It's a completely unique concept. It follows into Christianity with baptism. That is an immersion in water, part of the purification shared by so many religions. Of course, in India, in the river Ganges, there's purification processes as well. But most of these emerge as concepts from the mikveh, from the idea of mikveh. Now we're coming up to the top of the temple of the Ophel area, where people would move up to the Temple Mount, and to the right here we see Sha'ar Huldah. The three gates that are now blocked, that were blocked much earlier in the Ottoman, in the previous periods of time, to block up the walls of the southern access points. Of course, today we don't use this entry point, but this was the original point of entry from people coming from the south. And you take a look at down behind you. Open to the public. It's now open to the public officially, but it's part of the Ir David Davidson Center tour, and that will bring many people here to experience what it is, a mikveh, and how people in the past used this area for the purpose of going to the temple.
And do you think after UNESCO statement that we lately?
Well, I think that the UNESCO statements are really a contradiction against the indigenous rights of the Jewish people. And if you consider that for thousands of years Jewish people have been coming here, this is evidence of the scale of the numbers of people that once came here, and if these pools were filled today with water, and if there were a temple on the top of the mountain, Jewish people would continue to use them to ascend to the temple. So I think that it's really disconcerting of UNESCO and others. It's really a lack of, it's ignorance about the history that really existed here, and the indigenous rights, the origins of the history, the ancient origins that go back for a very long period of time. And we think that those issues, those indigenous issues, are superior in consideration to the UNESCO view, or the UNESCO determination and decisions that affect us today. Nevertheless, we're here, and we're here to stay, and that's what counts.
And this is the message for all over the world.
That's absolutely the message for all the world.